Hello, everybody. We're gonna wait for some more people to join on, just a minute or so as we get started. Bring up my screen share. No, not that one. This one. There we go. Okay. Good morning, good morning. Okay, as we're getting, as we're waiting for people to join us, I just want to put, cover a few of my admin bases, which is to say that we'll be adding a link in the chat to schedule a time with a designated restaurant success manager. Their role within Menufy by HungerRush is to ensure that restaurants get as many direct online orders as possible. So please book time with them. They'll speak with you about your specific needs. They can get you set up on a trial of HungerRush 360 marketing. So you can click that link, and we have English and Spanish and Mandarin speaking specialists, which you can know while filling out the Calendly to schedule time. All right, we have some more people in. We'll get started in just a couple seconds. All right. Okay. All right, we'll get started. So during our brief time together today, I'll be guiding us through two sections. First, I'll provide a quick overview of HungerRush 360 marketing, what it does and why we built it. Then I'm going to have a conversation with one of the owners of Wings Cafe in Kansas City. He and I are going to talk about how 360 marketing has been a solution for them, but it's also going to be a conversation about his experiences in the restaurant industry in general. I find that this industry can be really siloed, and that conversations between restaurant owners and operators can be really enlightening, both in the ways they reveal our operational differences and more importantly, our commonalities. So thank everyone for joining us. And here we go with HungerRush 360 marketing. So first of all, I am Lucas Estock. Please allow me to introduce myself formally. I'm the Senior Manager of Onboarding for HungerRush 360 Marketing, and I'm also one of the owners of a restaurant in Woodstock, New York called Kalo K. I've worked in the restaurant industry for more than 20 years and in many different capacities. I've been with HungerRush for the last 2 years as we have been working to develop and launch HungerRush 360 Marketing. So first things first, what's the problem here that we are solving? Online ordering is a massive net positive for restaurants and customers, but it represents a break in the connection an operator or owner has with their customer. And individualized attention to customers ordering online is effectively impossible without smart help. HungerRush 360 marketing is that smart help. The campaigns we launched are modeled after the same types of customer interactions that restaurant owners and operators instinctively rely on in-house. Because you recognize when a new face enters the door and invite them to come back soon, or when you haven't seen a regular customer in a while, you wonder why, and you keep an eye out for them when you're out and about town. And if you're anything like me, you want and need honest, direct customer feedback, and you want it right away. These are called table touches in the restaurant industry, and they are just as important online as they are in-house. When a customer opts in to marketing while placing an order, they're effectively raising their hand and asking for your restaurant to speak to them. Now, I've been using this sort of parable or analogy, if you will. 25 years ago, restaurants having a website was a luxury. And today, as you know, you can't survive without one. 15 years ago, direct online ordering platforms were a quirky add-on few restaurants saw the benefit of. And now they're one of the most powerful tools a restaurant needs to expand their reach without adding overhead. Well, I'm here to tell you that today, communicating and staying in touch with your customers online is the best practice standard. HungerRush 360 Marketing offers rich custom designs of text message and email campaigns that are segmented, targeted, and smart. So that's the problem, and we're the fix. How does this all work? Well, first, how do people enter the conversation? Customers opt in at checkout. Data and privacy laws are very important to us and to our customers. Everything starts with a customer raising their hand and opting in, saying, I want to hear from this restaurant. And these folks are far more likely to engage. So the customer opts in to marketing, and now they've completed their first online order. This enters them into the first targeted marketing campaign, which we know as the habit booster. 46 hours after the customer places their first qualifying order, their customer receives a beautifully branded GIF and promotional offer through text message. Now, a couple things. Why 46 hours after the qualifying order? Well, simply put, it's 46 rather than 48 hours because we want to catch their attention around the same time of day when they were hungry 2 days ago. The text message gets sent out giving the customer a promotional offer off their next order within the next 2 weeks. This is an active customer and they may not want to order from the same restaurant every couple of days, so we can afford to give them a slightly wider redemption range. If a customer hasn't placed their next order within a week of that first message, we send them a reminder email 1 week later, and you can see that in the flow. If 5 days later, the customer still has not placed their next order, we send them one final text message reminding them that their offer expires in 2 days. We have found that getting customers to place a second online order within 2 weeks of their first exponentially increases the likelihood of them continuing as a regular customer. And by the way, if at any point in this 2-week promotion, the customer places their next order, our system recognizes it and the communication flow around the habit booster stops. We are incredibly focused on making sure that the marketing campaigns that we launch are seen as welcome. And that's the habit booster. The next bucket of campaigns represents the re-engagement campaigns, and there are 3 of them. They are triggered by customers not placing an online order in 30, 60, or 90 days. When a customer falls into one of these flows, they receive an offer valid for 3 days. This is a direct effort to create urgency. We want those customers back, and we want them back right away. If 2 days in, the customer hasn't come back yet, we launch a similarly branded email reminding them that their offer expires in 24 hours. And again, if at any point the customer places an order, the flow stops. And those are the re-engagement campaigns. The final flow is called the customer feedback survey. So 90 minutes after a customer has placed their order, while the order is still top of mind, 360 Marketing sends an email out to their customer, inviting them to provide feedback about their experience. The results of that survey are sent directly to the owner or operator or anyone else within the team that you want to have eyes on what the customers are saying. The value of this real-time direct customer feedback cannot be overstated, particularly at a time when people are all too frequently turning to very public review forums to weaponize their feedback. We firmly believe that customers largely just want to know that businesses are listening, and this feature provides them with that. Now, there are a couple things I should mention. This feature does not require the customer to opt in at checkout. This is, strictly speaking, not marketing. The survey invitation is sent out to every customer, and people can always opt out or unsubscribe from surveys if at any point they wish to. And that's the customer feedback survey. Now, HungerRush 360 Marketing is meant to complement broader marketing efforts. I strongly encourage restaurant owners and operators to use the customer data available to them through a direct online ordering platform like Menufy to send out regular communications about what they're up to. What our service does is take the necessary but complicated work of targeting customers based on their ordering habits off your plate. Restaurants should be in touch with their online customers broadly, but they also need to do it individually, and we can help. So what do restaurants get? Well, restaurants get white glove, full service by a team of industry experts passionately engaged in building and evolving this platform. You get agency quality, visually vibrant email and text campaigns that are creative and fully branded for the restaurant. They get smart targeted campaigns or table touches, delivering the right message at the right time. And you get vital real-time customer feedback. We came up with a graphic. If you want to take a moment, you can scan it with your phone. this is a QR code, and it will bring you to a landing page that will allow you to enter your phone number, and then you can get a message sent directly back to you, just a sample of the type of message that we can set up and send out for our restaurant partners. So that's the quick run through. And now I would like to bring into the conversation, I'll stop my screen sharing a moment, Ezzy Redwood, so we can discuss his experience with Menufy and HungerRush 360 marketing, as well as his time within the restaurant industry. So let me quick remove my screen share and let me invite Ezzy into this conversation. Here we go. Here we go. Hi, Ezzy.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. Doing really well.
Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it, taking the time. I want to start out this conversation just by asking you a little bit, like, tell me how you got into the restaurant industry to begin with, what made you crazy, and tell me what brought you to Menufy, and specifically, your experience with 360 marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say we joked that we got into the restaurant business out of a mixture of naivety and stupidity, which I can say that now that we've been in it 10 years or so, going on 11 years. Both of those still hold true. There are opportunities though, so it's not all doom and gloom if you do it right. But yeah, really what it was we're professional big boys. We love food. If you can't tell, I still love food. And we felt like there was a gap in the market. Like there wasn't really any restaurant focused on artisan wings. So that's what we do, artisan chicken wings, flavors that you don't usually see, like coconut curry wings or espresso chocolate barbecue wings, things like that. And so that was what got us into it, and we also wanted to make money, and so that was also what helped propel us into it.
That's awesome. And what brought you to, how did you find Menufy specifically?
Yeah, so I actually found Menufy through Ashish, as is the case for a lot of us old timers. Ashish gave us a call or came by our restaurant. Back in those days, it was a really, and it still is a really restaurant centered company. And so you didn't just get a call from Ashish. If you got a call, did not answer the call, Ashish would pop up at your restaurant and come find you. And that's what he did for us. And I'm thankful because since then he's saved us quite a bit of money in terms of delivery fees and convenience, but also really helped us with our SEO, search engine optimization. So it helped us take over keywords, which is something that people don't talk about a lot. But for many years, and I haven't checked lately, but for many years, if you Google search best wings in Kansas City, which is a meat town, so it's not easy task. We would come up first, third, fifth, seventh, and eighth, or first, second, third, and fifth. And so, that was my introduction into Ashish. He delivered on what he said for us, and so, that was kind of how that relationship started.
Listen, I was in Kansas City not that long ago. When I first met you, it was in February, and I can attest. My phone had just landed in Kansas City. I decided to check it out. I Googled best wings. You were the first search result that popped up, so you were still holding that. I tested that out. So that's good.
The great thing about search engine optimization is, once you get into the leader position, you hold it there for a while as long as you don't mess anything up, which is where the feedback surveys come into play that we've been doing with the team here. It allows us to get ahead of any issues that come up. I'm sure you'll probably ask about that.
No, but I thank you for bringing them up. So tell me about the survey feature and how you've been interacting with it. Is it like what has been your experience? Like, are you happy about the positive reviews? How do you feel about the reviews that might not be as positive?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We spent the first couple years of our restaurant being there all the time, right? You're there all the time, you're hands on every dish. every plate, you see everything going on in the kitchen. Um, and that allows you to make sure the quality is great for the food.
Yeah.
But what's a lot harder is also to make sure that your front of house is also exuding that same quality and understanding where the training points are with them. And so, I think for us initially, that's what was really helpful, was understanding what front of house personnel maybe, we needed to work with a little bit more. But then once we got beyond that, there comes a time where you don't I'll speak for us. There comes a time where, for us, where we didn't want to be in the restaurant every single day, every single hour,
Yeah.
right? And so you have a second of command that you want to bring along with you. You have other people that are the future of the business that allows you to have the time freedom that really need in order to live a balanced life. And one of the things that we found is that the it was hard to let go. So like you have these people who can give you the time that you need, but it's so hard to let go because in the past, when you let go, like bad things happen sometimes. Yeah. And
No,
so
it's totally true. Listen, I don't trust anybody anymore.
no,
And that's an occupational hazard of being in this industry. But I found personally that these surveys really allow me to sort of feel like I have eyes where I don't.
yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what it is that, the only way you get there, like it isn't sustainable to be in the restaurant for every day, 24/7, 365. And it's not healthy for you, to be honest. And so what is healthy is for you to, put the time in to train up the people that you need to train up and then let them fly, right? Let them leave the nest, but keep eyes on them through these customer surveys. And the customers will be honest with you. And the customers notice they're like nowadays they're like every customer is a food critic and an environmental critic and customer service critic, right? Which helps you understand where the gaps are, the training opportunities, and it allows you to then train those people so that you can experience that time freedom and help that next generation come up.
Yeah, I totally agree. I find, I like to try to mentally tie like the marketing we're doing digitally back to kind of the efforts that I always traditionally have inside my own restaurant. I found if you have customers, even if they're not fully regular, but if they recognize you that you're around, they will come up to you, and if they have feedback, they'll give it to you, whether you want it or not. But people online, people ordering online, generally, if they have a bad experience, they're just either never going to come back and you'll never hear from them again, or else they will go online and they'll say some crazy thing framed as if it's like, your intention was to deliver a negative experience. When you give people an opportunity and say, hey, how did we do? The people who give that, listen, even if it's negative, I want that. I absolutely want to know if we didn't live up to the expectation, because it gives me an opportunity to say, okay, well, let me do this better, and I hear you.
Exactly. And that's been our experience too. Like people want to be heard, right? So if you're not there as the owner for them to fuss at or complain to or whatever, then they take it online. And is my experience. And you don't want them to do that
No,
because that's either in reviews, right? And your ratings are more important than ever now.
yeah,
Um, or that's your tagging you on social media, which you definitely don't want because that one person then has 100 to 500 people seeing that post. And so what we saw is if something happened to a customer inside the restaurant, that automatically was our fault. It wasn't the fault of the teenage girl who boyfriend broke up with her the day before and she's in a crazy mood. It wasn't the fault of someone who maybe is hungover because they partied too much like that Friday night because they just got their check and paid their bills. Like, no, it's all your fault and it's all the restaurant's fault. But what we found is if you provide them a way to give feedback, then it separates you from your personnel. And so in their minds, instead of going online and down one starring you, or instead of like bashing you on social media, they channel their frustration to that surveying, platform or to, whatever that feedback mechanism is. And so for
yeah,
us, we get those surveys and it keeps our ratings intact. It allows them to understand that we actually do care. We care about their experience, and whoever that was, it gives them opportunity to vent about them.
Yeah, thank you. And listen, I happen to think that the survey feature of this platform is actually one of the kind of stickiest elements of it because of it feels a little interactive and because customers have direct access to you. I'm curious, I want to ask you, and I'll answer my own question because I don't want to put you on the spot, but then I want to ask you, like, before 360 marketing, what were you, if anything, doing to kind of like market to your existing customer base that were online? And I'll say that I was not doing anything. I just like, it's hard, it's a lot, like online ordering tended to kind of feel like just a line item on my profit and loss. Like it either was up for the month or down for the month, and it really wasn't calculating those as customers in the same way I think that I just was like, they'll come back because they already found us. Were you doing anything before 360 marketing to kind of like target those people?
Yeah, to be honest, we weren't. Theoretically, we could have sent them emails. We had their emails through Menufy, but we didn't. So
Yeah,
and it's like it's one of those things where like I'm in marketing, right? So I should know these things. I
yeah,
do know these things, but at some point it becomes a function of time, right?
yeah,
So it's like I would allocate, let's say, Tuesdays to do that, but then on Tuesday, our supplier says that they're out of chicken, right?
yeah.
And we're like, well, that's what we serve. So now we've got to figure something out. Or someone, quits, or someone does whatever, right? And so
Just get a
something
grill
always
break.
comes up. Yeah. And having outreach that's inconsistent is the same or worse than having no outreach, right? Because they get something at one point, and so they know you can do it. Right? Then
And then
they'll
just
hear
never hear
from
from
you
you
for
again.
weeks or months, right? So, and then you pop back up, and they're like, "Well, where were you?" And I think that's an issue because we're in one of the most competitive fields of business. Period. Most of us who are on this are probably like us, where it just in order to get to you, your customer has to scroll through or drive past 15 to 20 of your competitors, right? There's
Yeah,
so many people competing for their dollars, for giving them something to eat, that you have to create a culture, a community, and stand out. And now more than ever, that's the case because they can order from anywhere in the city now, whereas before it was at least just a radius from their house that they felt like driving to. Now they can order from somewhere and have it meet them at their house or job. And so like it becomes even harder than ever. And so you really have to get a little bit more sophisticated if you want to continue to have traction. And the last thing I'll say on that is that my view is that what we notice is that we automatically, we started out counting on our customers, right? We're like, all right, so we just have to build, and then we can build on top of them and build on top of them. But what we came to realize is that you lose 10 to 20% of your customer base every year, right? Because they have kids that move, right? They don't have as much expendable capital. They have a second kid, and they're definitely gone because they're cooking now,
yep,
because daycare is expensive. They have, they leave the city, they move to the suburbs, they move to a different suburb, they sell their house, they buy a house, like they change jobs. There's so many factors that play into it, but what we realize is that just to keep where we're at, we have to be growing,
yeah,
because if we're not growing 10 to 20%, we're dying.
yeah. And I noticed just like, we were looking over the results you've been having, like you have seen kind of like just about 10% attributed like sales from just marketing, right? Like just by retargeting your existing customers, your sales have like consistently delivered up at least 10% over the last few months. That's important. Those are customers that like, particularly because we're speaking to brand new customers or customers who've just disappeared and stopped ordering for 1 or more months. Like those are customers that effectively had just gone dark, and you just need to be top of mind for them. They get hungry, and like you said, you're scrolling, you're basically in a food court that lasts forever digitally online. And it's really hard. We have decision fatigue all the time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're either in the suburb or in the city, right? And
Yeah.
in terms of location. And if you're in the suburb, you're competing with lots of other interests for their dollars. But one of the things we found is if you're in the city, like you're basically in the music business, because just like an artist is only as good as their last hit, and there's always a stream of new artists coming out, and actors are the same thing. There's always new actors and new movies coming out. We're in the same boat. Like, there's always new restaurants coming up. There's always new chains trying to move into your area. There's always this famous chef is coming. This new concept is opening. And so we're in the same business. And in order for us to maintain, where we're at and grow, we have to be cultivating our people and giving them some reasons to keep coming back to us. So we have to keep those touch points on them, or else, like, we become a statistic.
Yeah, no, that's a really, really good point. People have short attention spans, especially now, get a couple of seconds. That's why it's also important, why we're leveraging text messaging as a component of this as well. I kind of want to ask, just high level, like, is there a component of 360 marketing service that you think stands out above and all else that you really appreciate and enjoy, and like that you would recommend, like a reason why you'd recommend this to other IOs or independent operating restaurants?
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple. I'd say that the one is the surveys allow for time freedom. Time freedom can't be it can't be overstated. You have to be able to do things for you and not worry about what's happening at the restaurant if you want to be in it long term and not burn out. And if you want to transition your family members into your role, or the next generation into that role, you have to be having a constant feedback loop, and it has to be easy for the customers to provide that. So I think the SEO is really important and understated. Having all of the things on the back end that happen with the 360 marketing has been absolutely critical for us not having to spend $1 million on marketing over this time. And so if we're able to, like you say, get 10% of our customers back in, well, that's $170,000 for us, right? Every year, without doing anything, right? Without doing anything.
Yeah.
It's the easiest, like, for us, it was the easiest no-brainer. But I don't want to insult other people, but in the land where, everything has a high cost nowadays, like, it's literally turning down free money. Not free. We pay
No,
for it, but
it's not,
compared to
but
compared with what we charge, our customers, like, it is real. And one of the things that we do is strategically, we say, hey, let's highlight some of these high margin items, and let's invest in good food photography for it, so that we can let the 360 platform really sell that high profit item for us, so that we are making more money and it's all profit.
yeah, people eat with their eyes before they ever eat with their mouths, especially now. I really appreciate that. So I want to ask you a little bit about, just because I know that this is something that comes up a lot for us, and I'm curious your opinion on it. In terms of, like, these are targeted promotions. This is not going to every single customer all the time. They do have promotions attached to it. Do you have, like, what's your attitude personally around, like, giving a discount to a customer, particularly in these targeted ways?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a
Yeah,
problem with it. And here's why, right? Because you have to do it you have to do it smart, right? You can't just say blanket, like, 30% off, blah, 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 right? That doesn't work, and it doesn't make sense, right? And you don't want to attract that type of customer. What you can do, though, is you can reward someone for being a part of your community, right? And that's a lot more meaningful for people. And so if it's someone who orders regularly from you, like, they'll have friends who get these promotions, and it feels a lot like, cell phone carriers, where it's like there's no love for the existing clients, it's all
yeah,
love for new people, and they feel that, right? And so if you're like, say, hey, thanks for being loyal, right? That helps turn them into a brand champion, right? There's
yeah.
a mega church out here in in our city, and they're one of the largest, fastest growing churches in America. And at one point, someone sent me a video, which I wish I still had, where the pastors asked, "What makes you happy?" Mega church in the stadium. What makes you happy? And someone in the audience said, "Wings Cafe." I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say it's a lot of people there. This is tens of thousands of people. I'm not saying anything. They said it, and then he said, "What was that?" And they said it again, right?
No.
And so you have to, and those types of true believers, true fans, brand champions come from you taking care of them.
Yeah.
And if you're not, and so that comes from saying, hey, I know you're loyal. I
Yeah.
love that you're a part of the family. Here's something for you, right? And you can add the discount to something that's super high profit or super low cost. For us, mac and cheese, right? It costs us 15 cents a cup for our mac and cheese, for when we make our mac and cheese, but people love it. And so I'll give that out all day. I'll say, hey, for being part of the little family, here's 30% off a large mac and cheese, or here's a free drink or free mac and cheese. It costs 15 to 35 cents, let's say, right?
Yeah.
That goes so far in them just feeling like they're a part of something. And what we realize is that most people, customers included, are looking for meaning. They're in jobs they hate. There are people that they might hate. They got married, or whatever the case is, they're unhappy, right? And so they're looking for meaning, and they're looking to be a part of a community. And so anything that we can do to provide some happiness and make them feel like they're a part of a community that actually cares about them, then we do that. And so whether that's birthday, whatever, or whether that's free mac and cheese on their birthday, well, guess what? It costs us 15 to 35 cents for the side, let's say 50 cents at the high end, but then they're going to buy something that the profit margin is going to be $10 on. And so, yes, we gave a discount, but we made $9.50 that we would not have otherwise made. And so we have to look at it like that in terms of both the lifetime value of the customer, but then also like with their next transaction, what are they likely to do? And how much is that going to make us?
I hear, and I hope someone on the development team is listening to this or in the recording, like there's a birthday feature and a loyalty feature we need to work on for this platform, and I love that idea. But also, listen, I want to echo just what you said, and then I think restaurants are at their very best when they are fostering community. That is a restaurant's purpose, is to make sure that people have a place to come and to gather and to break bread and absolutely find community. That's what, and so the more you can be doing and focusing your attention as a restaurant owner, operator on that task alone, the more you should let the things like digital tools like this take over and just help and just do what they do to make sure that your customers feel like they're taken care of, because when your time is very valuable. So yeah, that's the takeaway message, and I love the feature add-ons that you've even suggested here that I know we want to work on too. So I wanted to ask you, because this time flew by really quickly, and I'm looking at the clock right now, but I just wanted like one more question on to you. What's next
Yeah, man, I'm here to give value, man. That's what we're doing today. We're giving value.
Yeah.
So many things.
But I want to ask you, what's next for you? What's on your plate right now? Like what's next for Wings Cafe? What's your next?
Yeah. For us, I've been able to transition myself out of it. Like, I'm not just telling you like I've done it. That's why I'm saying like it's still standing.
Yeah.
It's still
Yeah.
standing, right? And so for me, it's looking at like how we can make money while we're not physically there working. And so it's looking at sauces, it's looking at pop-ups, right? So you can leverage that reputation that you've created to do other things in town, like, and whether that's ends up being marketing and restaurant consulting, whether it ends up being sauces and seasonings, whether that ends up being completely different ventures just because people know you and love you and trust you in general, right? Like, that's kind of what I'm looking towards now. And ideally, I can be like some of our forefathers. So Gates Barbecue is out of Kansas City. They sell a lot. They sell more of their sauce online than they do in their stores with their barbecue. Same with KC Masterpiece. It's from our city here. Same with Wishbone Ranch is from our city. So it's like, how can we take one of the things that we offer and package it up so that no matter where in the world you are, you can have access to it, and then automate that so that we're making money while we're sleeping.
Please sell those sauces. I have it on good authority. You'll be shipping to Cape Cod, Massachusetts the moment you do, which is where I am right now. Yeah, I would love that. I really, really appreciate your time and your insights. Let's do this again sometime. This
I'm in.
didn't this long enough
So
for me. But no, thank you very much. You're great, and I think it's so important that people kind of understand that, like, there are so many things we're all going through at the same time, and one of the things every one of us is going through is not nearly enough time to pay the level of attention we would like to every single customer that we have. But it's so important. This tool is one that does that. That's why I'm so pleased that you agreed to come and talk to me about it today. So thank you very much. I want to, as we're closing, just kind of remind people, click on the link that I put into the chat, schedule time with a restaurant success manager from Menufy. They are eager to speak with you, to answer your questions, to set up a trial, and to tell you how you can eventually find sauces from Wings Cafe in Kansas City. Ezzy, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
absolutely. Thanks for having me. Good seeing everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Okay.